Hey everyone, it is October the 18th and it is 8:30ish in the morning my time. And yeah, I'm sitting here in a bathrobe because, well, I want to make a point actually um, with what I'm doing with this. First, before I get to the point, there are a bunch of interviews that are out now. Combination on the book, but a lot of topics actually that were discussed. Some very, very good interviews actually. They're all listed below, including ones with Freeman Fry, quantum healing with Tina and Karen is there. The one with Emily Moyer is up. With Aaron, we talk about dead people, and I recommend all of them. They were all interesting, unique, and different. Every one of the interviews was completely different. So why am I sitting in my bathrobe? Well, the point I wanted to make is that so often, not so often, basically always, when someone's making a video for you, they are showing you a specific image of themselves. And it becomes very, very easy as we watch the video to think that is the person with whom the rest of their life looks like, as if the small window that you're seeing for 30 minutes is the window that you would be getting if you were around them for 24 hours. And of course, on one level we know that's not true, but we also get tricked because we only see the person in a particular way. I'll give you an example. There's the one person I'm talking to often, having interviews with, etc. And I never once sort of clued in, like, hey, they have kids, and they do this, and they drive them to soccer games, and because I meet them and I talk to them in this 1 hour window where we have our interviews, and I don't. It's not like I'm experiencing them in their real life. I'm not going over to their house and having coffee and chatting there and seeing their experience, their environment, everything about them. And that's easy, I think, to forget because, of course, when a person is presenting a video, particularly on these kinds of topics, they're presenting something where they want people to think they have some authority. They know what's going on. They're someone you can trust, so their information should be taken at value. I mean, if I did all of my videos from day one, if I did all my videos in a bathrobe, you know what? People would think I'm Hugh Hefner, or people would think, I don't know what they would think. But they would certainly not take what I was saying completely seriously because I don't look correct. So if you were here in the morning, if you were staying at my house, this is what it would look like at 8:30 in the morning. I'd have my bathrobe on to stay warm. I'd have a cup of tea. I would be looking through a little bit of things on my iPad to see what's going on in the world, or what I might want to talk about, or what work I have to do, planning my book stuff. This is what you would see. And I think it's important that you have to keep in mind, with everyone you're listening to, you're getting a small piece of their world. You're not seeing, you don't see the other 24 hours of my day where I bump my head a lot. I bang into things, because I'm rather tall, and a lot of houses and barn stuff is built quite low, and but you don't see me bumping my head. So it's just a reminder that who you're seeing is a complete human being. They have a complete story, and it helps to not suck us in only to the message being presented and the presentation being presented. We went for dinner. My wife and I went for dinner on Friday night as a little bit of a break from the interviews, and there were a couple of what I would call Kardashian women there. Women who their job is to look nice, and that's really their only job in life. And it's an image that's being presented, and it's being presented in certain periods of time. And if that's all you saw of them, you would gain a complete, you would have the box that they live in, but you're not seeing the rest of their day. And they don't look like that the rest of the day. They just don't. They look completely different. And it's another example of pulling yourself away from the projected image to start seeing the whole of what you're seeing, the whole of the person. And the point being is, someone can look really good in the 20 minutes that they're presenting something. I used to see this a lot with spiritual teachers when you could still make the rounds on these satsang circuits, and they would sit there for their 30 minutes, and they would have they would have the wonderful stupid smile on their face, and they would answer, oh, everything is love, it's also wonderful, God loves you, we all care about you. And it sounds good for the hour that you're listening to them. The people can easily be sucked in. They buy their $500 retreats, they buy all their products. But as I told a friend of mine who was falling for one of these gurus, that as if this person had all the knowledge in the world, I said, yeah, but you're not really know them. You see them for the 1 hour that they're there, but you don't know them. You don't know what's really going on with them. If you really think this is a person you want to follow, get on a plane, fly to their house, and go hang out with them for like a week. Find out what it's like when their neighbor drops garbage on their lawn over the fence. Find out what happens when the sister they don't like calls. See them in the real world. See what their real world experience is, and I guarantee you it's not going to look the same as the person you just saw sitting there for 1 hour giving you a marketing speech. It's important to see the whole package of what you're dealing with. And maybe you would go and see them for a week and they would be exactly like that. Okay, then you know what you're getting. But you need to get to know someone on a much more deep level. I don't know, perhaps in a subject matter like is being dealt with, like the kind of things I talk about, it's almost like maybe like a camera should be on for like 12 hours and people can see the whole experience of what a day is like, because that helps you to learn to trust the person speaking, because the more you can see that the person sitting in front of you now, and it doesn't matter whether you're in the room with them, whether you're having coffee with them, or you're having to sit on the internet like this, which is harder to get the full image of what a person is like, you can begin to learn how trustworthy are they? How much can you actually trust them? This is a big thing that comes across of our people, our people, what are they called now? Gatekeepers, or are they disinformation agents? Are they here just to lie to you? And you don't know. You have no idea. You see the 20 or 30 minutes that's presented. You don't see them for longer periods of the day. You don't see them when the camera goes off. And what do they do? What do they talk about? What happens if you were hanging out with them for 4 or 5 hours? What if you went on a day trip with them? How would they be for the whole day? So we don't really know. And I think that's a valuable aspect, is remind yourself that we are not seeing a whole package of anyone. And that's the only way. The more complete package you see, the more you can start to learn, is this someone you can trust? Is this someone you want to think has really good values and directions for you to follow? Anyway, that was the whole point of the robe. The other part of the video I want to talk about is this feeling of a lot of people have where they feel they don't fit in. And that's pretty common, right? Especially as someone starts to go within and learn more about themselves. They feel they fit in less and less. Their friends don't want to talk to them anymore. They can't converse with their family. They're feeling more and more ostracized. So I looked up on the internet. I just went for fun. Oh, I'll just click in and see what some things come up on a Google search. And, it's pretty wild when you see how it's presented, how it can be hard to fit in because you're trying to be someone you're not, or you're just too shy, or you're awkward, you overthink situations, or you come with false expectations. So things you can do: don't force yourself on someone else. Join groups that interest you. Be more approachable. Don't force yourself to join a group you don't belong to. Find new interests. Be open-minded. Be patient. Okay, let's be serious. Once you come to a point where you're watching stuff like what I do here, when you're starting to dig through the concepts of this is a dream, this is a simulation, this is not real, that there's a evil demiurge that is in control of this place, that is harvesting you for food and energy, you're not going to fit in here. Like, it's not going to happen. You are not going to fit in to 95% of this reality. Like, don't even think you can. The 95 or even more, 98, 99%, they think this is real. And they think this is exactly what is presented to them. They believe everything. full on. They don't even think about it. How are you going to fit in? You're not. You're just not. And I think the best advice we can start to take is to realize that the deeper you go into reality and self, the more you start to see of what reality actually is in your own way, right? Everyone is going to see truth is truth, but you'll see it through a different lens. You'll see the structure of things a little bit differently. That doesn't mean one person's right, one person's wrong. It just means they're seeing it through a different lens. And that also can create differences. Two people have seen through reality, but person A believes this and person B believes it's this. And now you get another conflict, because even though you've seen through reality and you've broken past the standard 98%, you're not going beyond that, because you're not saying, yeah, we both see reality just slightly differently. We can actually slightly fit in. So there's even more breaks that get created because you don't see the reality that the other person demands you to see at the next level. You understand what I'm saying? So it becomes very, very hard. So the deeper you go, the less you're going to fit in. And on another level, why would you want to fit in? Place is insane. This reality is insane. That's a whole part of Exit the Cave, the recognition. It's insane. So why would you want to fit in with insanity? Right? Like, just seriously, why would you want to fit in with insanity? Why would you want to go along with it? It's a question to ask yourself. Maybe you do. Maybe you've seen through it and you still want to go through and link to insanity. Okay, I don't. But what that means then is there are smaller pockets, smaller groups where perhaps you can fit in. And I don't mean like fit in, because it's not really a group. It's going to be just a small conglomerate of like thinking people. You can say, well, you go in the comment section under these videos and there's kind of a group here. Well, kind of, but not really. Again, it's people sharing words on a screen, which is great. And I appreciate people sharing things and presenting information. It's valuable, but it's not true connection, right? It's not true connection. Or it would require a tremendous amount. Okay, it's not saying it's not true. You can do that, but you have to have a lot then of back and forth messages, right? It's like if you just send one letter to somebody you just met and they send one letter back, you're not really connected. But after you've sent maybe 20 letters and you start to get more personal and more detailed, and you're sharing more and more of your experience and more what you're feeling and more of your life, then the connection can start to be made. Connections take time. Connections take time, and connections take either sharing of information and sharing what's inside, or at least sharing time and space together. Two people don't necessarily have to say too much about themselves. You can just sit in the same room and have a coffee together. But if you do this often enough, that there's an energy component that starts to be shared. There's an energy component that starts to match. And if the frequencies are similar, then you start fitting in. That's the best way of describing it. Fitting in is just having a frequency similar to others. And in our reality, the reality that we know, the society that we know, it runs on a particular frequency. And of course, each country will have its own specific frequency in general. Each city within that will have its own frequency. That's with different cities, you're kind of expected to act differently, even though it's in the same country. Right? Even here in Norway, it's completely different. If I take the three biggest cities, let's say Oslo, Bergen, and Trondheim, you would have to act, if you lived in those cities, you'd have to act a little bit differently if you were going to fit in with the average person, because they're running at a different frequency. So once your frequency changes completely, and I don't want to say it's gone up, you're superior, right? No, we're special. Just it's different. It's changed. We've seen through something that the rest doesn't see through. Our frequency's different. So now the wavelengths just don't fit in. So even to just sit down with a regular person, even though you're not saying anything beyond, hey, how are you? Yeah, weather's not so great today. Yeah, I know. Well, hope work's going good. There's no chance of connection. There's no chance of fitting in together because the frequencies are so apart. So it's first getting to recognize that As you go deeper into knowledge, into wisdom, into truth, you actually resonate less with the human world. You might find you resonate more with the natural world. You might find that now it's much more easier to sit with a group of trees or hang out with some stones or sit in nature and watch the butterflies all of a sudden start to come and land on your arm. You might see you're fitting in. You're starting to fit in, but you're fitting in with the natural world. You're fitting in with something else that's the not the human world. And you have to be okay with this. And then you have to be comfortable that when you do start to find some people that are close to your frequency, you don't demand that they believe everything you believe. Don't demand that. I mean, you finally got someone you can start having connection to. Don't say, yeah, but they disagree with this, so I don't want to be friends with them. Like, then you're running out of options. You're going to have to start to see that as you go deeper and deeper into the truth, and as you eliminate more and more possible connection, the ones that start to become available become really valuable, really important. And don't just waste them because they don't think exactly like you do. Um, there's another researcher that I've just found out about, and I like his stuff. Of course, I don't agree with everything that he says. Just like I'm sure if he reads my book, he's not going to agree with everything I say. But we have a lot of similarities in the areas that we do agree on, and areas underlying foundations of what we see about reality. And I'm going to send him an email and reach out and see if we can start having some connection and conversation together, because he sounds like a really interesting person, and I'd like to know a bit more of how he's come to his conclusions and how he more deeply sees the nature of reality. But it'd be a perfect example if I was going to start saying, but he doesn't agree with this, and this, so I don't want to reach out to him. I don't want to talk to him because even though we agree on this, we don't agree on a couple other things. So he's wrong, and I don't want to waste my time with him. I mean, you're just isolating yourself unnecessarily. As soon as you work this journey, you're going to get society's going to isolate you. You don't need to go isolate yourself. Society's going to isolate you because if you're going to try to be honest, you've either got two choices. You've either got to lie, you've either got to pretend that what society believes you believe. So that means now you're never acting honestly with the world because you're constantly putting up this fake wall just to have basic interaction with the world. Or you start acting and speaking and being as you see things, as you believe things are, as you've come to understand them, and society will be the one that will start to push you away. You'll be seen as there's something wrong with you. And in a sense, there is, because we no longer vibrate at the same frequency as the rest of society. You know, who would do a video in their bathrobe? I don't know. I don't care. When I was in university, I used to because the dining hall to go get breakfast was in my first year. It was like I stayed in where the dorm rooms were. It was just like across the little walkway. You actually had to go outside and go to the dining hall. And it used to bother me that I would have to get dressed, go to the dining hall, eat something, at 8:30 or whatever, 8 o'clock, and then come back, put my bathrobe back on because I was comfortable in it to kind of like get ready for the day. And so I just started, well, why would I make the change? And I just used to walk over my bathrobe. I would walk over it like this to get my stuff in the morning. And the first couple of times, of course, you could hear the murmur of all the other first year students, like, "What is he doing? Why, that guy's nuts." But after time, of course, they kind of started to know that I was a bit kind of not the same as everybody else, and I was working on my own system there. Um, and then it just started to become. Eventually, it started to become like normal. It was no big deal. Yeah, it's just Howdy, the idiot. That's what he does. He comes here in his bathrobe to get his food. Yeah, whatever. And so at first, when I would get like looks and stares the first few times I did it from a lot of people, of course, the guys I was with on the floor thought it was, they thought that was hilarious. But after time, it just became natural, and people who needed to talk to me about something or needed to return something or ask about whatever, they would just come over and talk to me like I was just dressed normally. It didn't make any difference anymore that I was in a bathrobe because it became normal. So it's also part of it is if you really want to find how you fit in and how you can actually experience the reality, you've kind of got to go with what you know, and you've kind of got to throw out vibrationally into the world how you see it and how you feel and how you want to be. And yeah, a lot of reality will push you away, but the good news is what doesn't get pushed away, what sticks around, or what comes towards you at that point must be really close to your frequency then. So I know a lot of people have written to me over the last couple of years of how isolated they feel, how alone they feel, how everyone is kind of just left them. And I hope you understand why your vibration doesn't match them anymore. And it can take some time before you can bump into those who have a similar frequency, because obviously someone who has a similar frequency as you has also been pushed out of society. They've also been ostracized. They've also been just like you. They've been, their family and their friends don't want to talk to them anymore. They think they're crazy. So it's even hard to find those people, but they certainly exist. People on a certain different frequency level exist all over the world, in all cities. It's just, it's kind of knowing that they're there, just you haven't found them yet. You might say the tribe hasn't come together, and you just have to be patient. And it's hard. It's frustrating. I get that. I've lost basically all the friends I've had in my life. Basically, every single one has just disappeared, other than like a couple, and I hardly ever see them anymore. It's really, really rare. I even might see them once a year now or something. And that's hard. But in the course of all of that loss, as I've been doing these videos, I've made really interesting connections with a lot of the people that I've been doing these interviews with, etc., and some people who have just come through these interviews and this channel and these videos, and I feel they're not the same connections as, of course, somebody can come by the house, we can sit, have a coffee, go for a walk outside, talk about a tree, talk about whatever. That part, of course, is missing, but at least I know there are others out there who vibrate at a similar frequency, and we've managed to come together in some ways. And that's just kind of, you have to do the best you can in the situation you've got. So I know if you feel that you're not fitting in here, it's actually not a bad thing. Because if you fit in really smoothly in this reality, if it's a piece of cake to be in human society, then you're in the insanity. And actually, when you're realizing you don't fit in, and a lot of people haven't felt they haven't fit in their whole life, right? They just at 5 years old they don't fit in. That the way they think just doesn't match anyone around them. They're an outsider their whole life. But maybe you've just seen something about reality at such an early age, and thankfully you didn't chuck it in the garbage and just start believing what everyone else believes. You held on to it and you said, okay, I'm trusting what I've seen. I'm trusting what I understand about reality, and it'll make sense at some point in my life. And maybe it has, and it's starting to, and it will make more sense as you go along. So don't necessarily feel bad that you're not fitting in. Feel grateful that you're seeing something deep about reality and about yourself and about who you are and what this place really is, and the power that, because fitting into the world means giving up your power. Fitting in here means you're giving up your power and authority to someone or something else. Someone or something else is more important than you. Someone or something else is going to tell you what to do. And partially gaining your own authority, gaining your own power, means you're not going to give it up to organizations, societies, ideas, deities, whatever. You're going to be the accessor of that inner power, of that inner essence, that inner consciousness, and you're going to present it how you want to present it. So there's my early morning ramble for today. Hopefully there's something of value there in it. There's lots of interviews below. Again, as I say, they're all linked. You can just go see the ones you think might be interesting for you. Print book is being, I hope, completed this week. I'm getting the interior of it done. The cover's getting done as well, hopefully in the course of the week. So we might be ready to start getting that off to you next week. By the way, so all of you who have bought a PDF file up to, I guess, the weekend, roughly, you've all been sent a new, I should have put this at the start of the video. I'll put it in the description so it's right at the top. You should have all been sent now a new PDF file of an updated, completed version of the book with, there's only been a few changes, but a lot of all the grammatical and spelling stuff, or most of it hopefully has been found. So it's a very clean copy now. You might not see it in your normal inbox, so check your spam folder because it should have been sent to you a couple of days ago. And that's the updated version of the book. Again, please have it, discuss it. Please don't share the link with others, and you know the drill. So yeah, we'll see you in a week or so. Maybe I'll have the print book up and ready, and when it is, I'll let you know that. And yeah, a few more interviews to go and a few more things to do, and then early November I'll come back with a more detailed video on this reality. Thanks.